Howdy doody! Welcome back to the ranch. My name is Mick. This behind me is my 1961 Case 831C agricultural tractor, diesel. If you're behind, we're starting up a series on this thing. I picked it up as a old decrepit non-runner with 3-point issues. In the last video, we got the 3-point figured out, but man, was it a challenge. So now that's all functional, we need to move into the maintenance end of this thing. We got the general maintenance items like any other piece of equipment, but we also got to tear into the hydraulic cylinder that lifts the 3-point. That thing was leaking oil, so we got to break that down, get new seals for that, hoses, engine oil, generator, fuel filters, you name it, we got to go through it all. So stick around, let's get to work. Alright, so let's start out by draining the engine oil on this thing. We got a decent enough day, so I actually yanked this outside, and it's later in the day, but I'd at least like to take advantage of the weather that I got. We need to drain the engine oil, get into this filter, then I gotta finish tearing down the cylinder that runs the 3-point system back here. We finally got this functional, however, the cylinder that runs this was leaking oil enough to the point where I figured, hey, we got it open, let's just finish the job. So I'm going to replace the seals on that. I had 2 hoses that run to that cylinder that were in poor condition, so I'm going to replace those. But before we do that, let's get the engine oil draining. I got my drain plug here, filter here, and I think that I have the correct replacement filter, so let's start throwing some wrenches. Man, all the work that we did in the last video was just a huge mess. All my tools are full of oil. But we got her. I'm very happy with the outcome. Could have been a lot worse, I think. Actually, I don't know. Maybe you could be the judge of that. Sorry, honey. Yelling at her. Could it have been a lot worse? If you take another look at this pump, there's no key here. And if you take a closer look, it's sheared off.
Something wrong?
That is not good. I don't know. I think that was a pretty serious job that we got done. Alright, engine oil is clean. It does have a magnet on the end of the plug, and there's some material in there, but no big chunks, so that's good news. Filter up here. One thing about working outside, even though the weather's nice, you're still going to get a breeze, so just trying to keep this clean. Alright. Napa Gold 1475. I know I didn't get a Napa, and that's because I got a Baldwin P80. Throw my spring back in there. Ouch! These O-rings can be tricky. You really don't want to kink it. And with how wonky this thing is sitting in here, I'm really going to have to be careful. I just realized this filter came with a replacement gasket for this, which is good because this thing is pooched. So let me get this thing off of here. Maybe pooched, but I can't get it off. Come on, man. You know you got a tight fit when you got to thread it into the O-ring.
Tight like a tiger.
Of course, I dropped this in my used oil because why wouldn't I? That's alright, you want to lube them up anyway, you know. I think that'll do it there. Okay, so I need to clear some room for 5-gallon buckets for waste oil, so I'm going to let the pan just keep dripping here. Fill up the transmission fluid since we already got that drained, and that's takes like over 10 gallons. I can't remember what it is, 12 or 13 gallons or something. So let's fill that puppy up, then we'll come back to the engine oil. Okay, hopefully my filter fits. Not filter, funnel. It's so close. I don't want to use a small filter. Funnel. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Maybe I should just sit here and not do anything. Here we go. It's working well enough. Pretty sure I put the drain plugs in. Oh yeah, that's the ticket there. Alright, that was a lot of oil. About 15 gallons worth. With finishing out that bucket, checking my stick here, I should be just at the full mark, maybe a little bit over. Keep in mind, once this starts pumping to the hydraulic system, I'm gonna lose fluid there. I'll recheck the dipstick and top her off, you know. Now, next on the list is my torque converter housing. The way that these work is it's a manual gearbox, but the case-o-matic has a torque converter with it. So you could shift into gear and then let your foot off the clutch and come to a stop, and it'll still run without stalling out. So that's this case here. I already drained it out earlier so I could clean the filter on the inside. I think I had a clip of that. It's a lot of crap oil. I gotta pull this filter. These Eagle logos are so cool. I wasn't expecting that. Yep, here it is. Another reusable element with some noticeable debris inside of it. Yeah, go ahead and clean that too. So I cleaned that filter up. This is ready to fill. It should be about 4 gallons of ATF Dexron type. Yeah, we'll probably do it there. Dang, what the hell? Oh, little toit, huh? All right. Last up on the fluids, motor oil. All right, and then no surprise for this one, I'm just using a Delvac 15W40 for my engine oil. And I don't know how much this takes. I know it's somewhere around 2 gallons. So we'll just go by feel. Check the dipstick. I'm tired of lifting 5-gallon buckets, man. I don't think that's nearly enough, but since I gave up, I'm gonna check. Oh, you know what? I need to get my oil bath air filter on the other side. So I wasn't done over here, but I didn't lie. It's still the same fluid. Motor oil. Ooh. I say we get that soaking in something. I'll clean it up. And then once it's clean, fill it up to the proper level, which is marked. It says oil level in there. You probably can't see it. Throw it back on, be done with that. Last up is my fuel filter housing. I have 2 filters here. There's also one up here that I couldn't find. And she looks beefy. So I'm just gonna leave that one be. It's the 3rd filter in line, so I think it's gonna be okay. If I really wanted to get crazy, I could take it apart and try and clean it, but I don't think that's possible either. There's a little fuel water separator down here. Maybe I'll do that. But for now, I got 2 bolts up here to drop each housing. So let's go ahead and do that. And remember, I have a fuel leak coming out of this thing right here, which I don't know what that is. If it's like a bleeder screw or if it was like a fuel pressure gauge that they blocked off. I don't know, but we'll find out. Let's see if we can get it sealed up again. I do have the fuel shut off, just so you know. There's a little valve right here. I guess before we take this off, let's see if I can crack this water separator down here. Plugged up. Not a great sign. Definitely fuel in there. Thing runs. I'm unsure about that, but I'm not gonna waste time here. Let's just get this thing off. Oh, there it goes. I'm gonna guess and say these have not been off of here in a long time. Holy crap. There we go. Ouch! Oh yeah, pinch your finger, that's great. Yep. It was doing its job, but that thing has been sitting in there for a long time. Filled with crap. This one looks like it fills the space better. Still pretty crappy. Okay, so I'm gonna do some cleanup with these filter housings, but before I put them back together, I'm gonna go ahead and take this block off. This looks like my fuel return line from the injectors. So if I take that off, it'll give me good access to this. This is where I believe that pretty bad fuel leak is coming from, and I think it's just a plug. I'm wondering if that's a port for like a fuel pressure gauge. Regardless, what I can do is take that out, really wrap it in some fuel rated plumber's tape, and put that back in, put this back in, and then we can put my housing back together. These fittings are split and the threads connect. Is that normal? I mean, they're both like that. I've never seen a fitting like that before. Usually these just have like a brake line end to them, you know, a flare to them. But I mean, there's definitely no flare in there. It's machined that way. That is strange. I mean, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe that was a common thing, but I've never seen that. All right. Missed me. What in the hecky? I don't know what I'm looking at. But it plugs something. Oh, there's an O-ring. Nice. Alright, got my housing all cleaned up here, ready for install. First, I got my new O-ring sitting on here. Hopefully I can get that to slide in there nice. Quite frankly, I'm going to throw some oil on it. A little bit of oil won't hurt nothing. Start reassembly. So let's do this first. I got wicks 33.511 and 33.513 instead of like a cloth element. These are actual like filters. Yeah, so this is what we're dealing with here. Dang, I can tell you right now, that ain't right. Yeah, I think I'm SOL there. I don't have the right filters. I don't know how that happened. I was pretty certain on that from the book. Maybe different years had different sizes. But that is a bummer because now I can't pull this back into the shop tonight. Okay, so we're going to go back in time, actually, to the day that I closed out the last video on this machine. If you haven't seen that video, might I recommend you go back and watch it after this one. At the end of that day, I started tearing open the hydraulic system to see what kind of shape the cylinder was in. It just made more sense to put that together with the cylinder rebuild section of this video. So yes, we're going back in time, but then we'll catch back up to speed. All right, we're doing it. I'm gonna break this down, drain the oil now that I know it functions. I'm gonna replace these two hoses that feed the hydraulic cylinder, rip that thing off and rebuild it. Let's get started. Got her. All right, got this thing all cleaned up. Let's tear it open. I'm a little nervous because this is welded up, but it's a threaded end. So I don't know why though, because usually you take this whole thing out and your whole seal assembly is at the back side and you take it off that way. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh, jeez. BRB. Okay, supposedly there's a snap ring in here. Whew. That thing was stuck in there. There I was singing in an old violin. Alright, well, I just got home. I got a little bit of time before the daylight fades, and I want to get this broken down. I tried on the bench vise, couldn't do it, so I'm going to try the old hydraulic against hydraulic. And anyway, I think it's rigged up good enough, so hopefully I don't hurt myself and or break anything. Oh man. Have I ever mentioned on this channel, do as I say, not as I do? This would be one of those moments. But hey, it worked, you know. It's called being a hillbilly for a reason. There must have been a ridge of something on something, because that is metal. Just pulling the ram out of the cylinder shouldn't be doing that. Fat chance, but I'll try anyway. Do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I pinned the table up against the wall and did it that way. If I had a shop with a bench and a permanent vise, I'd be able to do it that way and actually show you. This is ridiculous. Come on, meow. Take some pictures before I break this thing down. Take the seals apart and then send them to a guy that can replace the seals for me. Now that this is off of here, I can straighten out this plate. Look how bad this thing is. Just absolutely whammy. We'll straighten it out. That all looks good. Some light scoring, but nothing terrible. Sorry, had to organize myself there. Stressing me out. No idea why I was working in there. It's so nice out. Look at the goop inside of this thing. Definitely going to have to do a thorough cleaning, and now that I dip my finger in it, I got to clean my finger.
Oh, that's okay. I can take care of that, Mr. Dilham.
Morgan!
Simple. Oh, man. Ha, finally got it. Shoo-wee! Dang. This was definitely our culprit. Not sure if you could see that, but this thing was definitely twisted. It was installed this way. Right off to your right there. See how it's twisted? So they must have messed up the install last time this thing was rebuilt. And I can pretty much guarantee that's where it was leaking. You know, the wiper seal was obviously disintegrated, you know, not great, but I mean, that's not going to keep you from leaking. That's just to keep debris out. Everything else looks good. Got a backup ring. That looks good. O-ring. Doesn't look too bad. And then the other backup ring. You know, this all looks fine. With that, that is disassembled. Pretty simple cylinder system here. So I'm going to clean these up. I'm going to get this over to a supplier to get new seals. And once I have those in stock, we'll put it back together. So I'll see you then. All right, back on this thing. I think I found a filter that is going to work. I was getting a little nervous there, but Wix 33516 comes in a little bit shorter than my original, but they also give you this cork, what it looks like to be like a filler washer or like a spacer. I'll throw that in there. That puts it at the perfect height for what I need. I got a new gasket with it, so let's throw this thing together, see if we can get this thing running again. Been putting this one off for a little bit, to be honest. So here's all we're doing. I'm just going to stick this on the bottom, pop her into place. I guess I didn't explain too, the filter that I had slated for this from the parts book ended up fitting in this one, so I'm only returning the larger of the two, and then I got that little mini one for this one. So it looks like that should work. I'm going to open up my bleeders here and crack my fuel, see if I got any leaks. I'm nervous about this leaking. Once I get fuel flowing here, we'll see. Whoa. The noise that came out of that thing was just silly. She's gonna be a little messy because I wasn't paying attention. All right, I got my lines loosened up here. I'm gonna crank this thing over and just see what kind of action we're getting. Not really sure what to expect here. Nothing yet, obviously. All right, we've got fuel on 1, 2, and 3. Nothing on, or 1, 2, and 4. Nothing on 3 yet. Back on the return filter. Ah! I am so dumb sometimes. Clean up on aisle 1. All that fresh transmission fluid pumped straight out the back. What an idiot. What an absolute idiot. Well, that was nice. At least we're running again. I believe my filters are working. I have all the parts ready to put my hydraulic cylinder back together, which is why we were spewing oil back there. And before I do that, I got to get these two bolts out of here. Apparently they were seized. It looks like somebody kind of scratched in a flathead to try and extract that one. That obviously did not work. So I'm going to drill these out and re-tap them so I can come back and secure my plate to it. I still got to straighten that plate out as well. So let's run back to the drill press and drill these out, re-tap them, clean it out. Then we could start putting this thing back together. That was my good Bosch drill bit. Like, that was a expensive one. That sucks. Real nice. All right, got my table set up. Not exactly sure as I'm looking at these seals. They look a little different from the originals. For instance, my main seal, like this thing that was twisted. And since this was my cause of the leak last time, I'm a little nervous because this one looks completely different. It's kind of open around and then it's closed on the other side. I believe with hydraulic cylinders the rule of thumb is if you ever have like a open back that is going away from the pressure, the closed would go towards. So since this is coming out of the ram like this, so your pressure's coming this way, I want my closed back facing the pressure. So I believe that is correct. I'm going to run with it. My wiper seal also seems to be a little bit different, but I think that one's a little bit more straightforward. But I'm going to quit yapping. Let's see if I can't piece this thing together. Alright, that should be everything. Now I can plop these back on. Alright. Now let's slide it all on. Just to be safe. To be too sure. Nice tight fit. Throw this one on. And all we got to do is torque this nut down to spec. Now comes the fun part. Alright, let's get this top plate on. Hopefully I tapped these holes deep enough. This should sit nice and flush now. Gun. Oh yeah. Straight. This is not the right way of doing this, but that's okay. She's working. Oh, hey. Does this pin work better? Oh, yeah. Much better. Oh, yeah. Right.
Say right, let me say, yeah. Oh, me now, mate.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna seal up. Great. Forgot I gotta pop these back off because I have a snap ring. See that girl laying down in the background? Look how cute she is. Aww. Look how cute you are. You look tired. So this don't go nowhere funny. I'm gonna thread this guy in. All right. This thing should be ready to go back on the tractor. So I'm just gonna go reverse order what you saw before, getting this thing mounted up. I did find out, or I did see rather, the reason why this bolt down here was just kind of floating in the wind is because there's a big chunk missing out of my bracket here. So 3 bolts that hold that together, and this one, yeah, just sheared right out of there. So for now, I'm just gonna put it back in the way it was. If it's an issue, then I will see if I can weld something up and correct it in the future. But again, just for now, just to get this thing functional, verify that it's not leaking, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it back together and we'll see what happens. All right, a moment of truth. It's getting a little dark, but I got 2 new hydraulic hoses on here. I got everything hooked back up. Let's fire this thing up, see if we can get this thing to run without leaking. Fingers crossed. So far so good. I'm gonna check if I have oil pressure. We got oil pressure. Not spewing anything anywhere. My fuel is also not leaking. That's no longer leaking there. So that's all good. Let's see if our hydraulics are gonna work. All right, here we go. Oh, there it goes. All right. That's holding pressure. As Farmcraft 101 would say, no leaky leaky. We did it. Fixed. All right, that's enough for tonight. I'll see you guys back here another day and we'll wrap up our maintenance items. Success. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Essentially, what I have left to do is take a look at this generator. I want to clean this whole thing up, so I'm going to give it a good pressure washing. As you can see by my setup back here, I've got my mower hooked up, and actually, this mower has been sitting just like this for about 4 or 5 days, and it has not dropped an inch. So we know our cylinder rebuild is working, which is great. I kind of have this thing just pieced together right now. It's not permanently hooked up, but I just wanted to get a proof of concept that this was all going to work, and it does. So that's all well and good. I'm not really going to focus on that right now. Like I said, I want to take a look at the generator. I got to clean up the air filter and put some oil in it. Speaking about the generator, I'm not too concerned about this thing. If I can't get it to work, I don't really care. I think the generator really is just for, like, if you're powering the lights, which is really the only accessory on this thing. So I'm not really worried about it. Yeah, it'd be nice to charge the battery, but I can always just throw the battery on a trickle charge when I'm not using the tractor. You know, I typically do that to preserve my batteries anyway. So let's just peel this thing open, see what we see. I got some loose connections here that I can, you know, dress up, take this cover off, see if I got, you know, dirty connections or something. I don't know. We'll take a look at it, give it our best shot. All right. What is behind door number 1? Dang, these are some small screws. Wow, that looks remarkably clean. That is absolutely brand new. The one thing I will say, like I mentioned, these wires are pretty, you know, worse for wear. So I'll definitely clean these up and reattach them. I don't know what this wire is for. I might be able to trace it back and kind of figure it out. I got a disconnected wire here. Not too sure, you know, a lot of this just could be old gauge wiring, which none of my original gauges work. So I don't know, but let's get to cleaning these up, piece it back together. I'm hoping it's just loose wiring, so that's what I'm gonna leave it up to. All right, let's start taking these off. This one is my main concern. I think it's either my ground or power, one of the two, but it is hanging on by a thread. So let's just hope that that's our issue. This one looks okay here. I can sand that up a little bit. I think this was holding on by a grand total of 2 wire strands. Throw it back together and hope that that's our fix. All right, got me multimeter. Let's fire this thing up, see if she's charging. Nope. Let's see if we get anything back at the generator. Nothing. And I was hoping that if I had nothing, my reason was going to be the battery connection was not hooked to the battery, but it is indeed. It feeds back to the solenoid on the starter. So that is a 12 volt positive. So, and it is, I did check ground, it is grounded, so it's something internally with the generator that's not working. Could I tear it open and see it's most likely some corrosion on the internal windings? Am I gonna go that far? I'll think about it. No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go that far. If I were to do anything, I would probably just put a run-of-the-mill one-wire alternator on this thing as the permanent fix. And I might do that at some point. It wouldn't take much, I don't think. I would need a pulley on the end that is for 2 belts. That is a problem for another day. I think I'm pretty much good here. I'm going to put that boot over the neutral safety switch like I was talking about, Everything else should be good. And let's get a pressure washing in. I guess I'm not pressure washing this thing today. If I can't pressure wash it, I guess it's time to load it up and take it to its first job. And by first job, I mean permanent residence where it will be mowing grass. This thing really does run great. Cool. I got some adjusting to do on that mower deck to get it to sit flat, but the tough part is going to be unloading this thing because where I'm going, I don't have a driveway and it is super soft and uneven. So it's either unloaded in the street, a problem for tomorrow. Well, this thing is wrapped up and it is in its new home currently. Y'all won't recognize where I'm at, and that's because it's a new property. Whoa! Just about 9 acres of land that I have big plans for. And I'll fill you guys in soon, but now is not the time. So for now, I am going to hop on my freshly maintenanced Case 831C and get to mowing because this place really needs it. If you like the video, please do me a favor. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. You can follow me outside of YouTube on Facebook, Instagram, and the TikTokies. And with that, let's fire this thing up. I'll see you all in the next one. But always remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench to get after yourself. See you next time. It works great.